So recently, this past year, Florida just got decimated by a number of hurricanes, the most recent of which was called Hurricane Milton. Now, Milton passed through here about 2 months ago, and it did quite a considerable bit of damage. Maybe like $1,000 or so here on the Homestead. It wasn't anything that we couldn't overcome, but we were without power for 5 days. Now, thankfully, we've prepared for these kind of things. That's sort of what homesteading is all about, in my opinion. And we have a Generac gas generator with a huge 1,000-gallon tank that powers our whole house in the event of a power outage. So we were able to put that into practice during Milton, and it worked great, worked exactly as we'd hoped that it would. However, my sister, who lives just down the way, does not have a generator like that, and she was completely without power for 5 whole days. Now, thankfully, we've collaborated with Allpowers in the past, and we have an Allpowers 1500 battery bank. That battery bank was invaluable to helping out my sister during this hurricane. I was able to bring it down there. We were able to hook it up to the solar panels outside, and it was able to not only, it charged her laptop, it charged her cell phone, so she didn't have to go without a phone, but we were able to continually, there's an airplane flying by, I don't know if you can hear that or not. We were able to continually keep all of the food in her refrigerator cold, which is really important, right? Because you don't want your food to spoil in the event of a power outage. So that 1500 was super practical. It definitely came in handy. And I'm really glad that I held on to it instead of trying to resell it or something like that, right? Well, today we are blessed with another sponsor offer from Allpowers. It's an even bigger battery bank. It's the 2500, and it comes with a set of 600-watt solar panels. These kind of sponsorship collaborations I get really excited about because it's very practical. There's so many things that you can do with these battery banks, these little solar-powered battery generators, that I think a lot of people don't really know about these whatsoever. And the fact that if you're still using one of those old, big, clunky gas generators that you've got to get out of your shed, drag it along, they weigh like 200-300 pounds. So sometimes they're hard to even move up next to your house. Then you've got to fill them up with gas. Especially, look, if there's like a hurricane or a blizzard or something of that nature headed your way, gas stations around me, they were all out of gas during Milton because the demand was so high. With these kind of solar-powered battery banks, you don't need that archaic stuff at all. And you can even recharge them during the day with the solar panels. So really awesome. Guys, let's dive in. Let's take a look at the Allpowers 2500 and see what can it do? How can it help us out, right? Come on, let's jump in. Now, when these batteries come in, there's practically no setup required whatsoever, and they actually come with about 75% of a charge on them already as well. So we opened the box, we got the 2500 out, and I brought it inside and plugged it into our main grid power. It only took about 40 minutes to charge up a quarter on this battery, so if it was fully depleted, it would be about 3 hours of grid power needed to charge it from 0% all the way to 100. And the very first thing, I got my wife to help me due to the back surgery that I had recently. We moved the refrigerator forward and we wanted to see if the 2500 would run this large refrigerator. Now keep in mind, we have 6 people who live here on the homestead in a massive refrigerator, and the 2500 took it like a champ. It was actually going to be running it for about 10 to 12 hours, in fact, before it would be depleted. So this is the kind of scenario where, you know, if you have a storm, you have some kind of a power outage, you got to keep your food cold, right? The Allpowers 2500 handles even the largest of refrigerators for an entire day. Now, after we had checked out the refrigerator, it was time for a few more tests. I grabbed my little Ryobi tools, I hooked them in, and I said, hey, what if we need to do some work with some electric tools and we're far away from grid power? Well, this Allpowers would be able to run like one small Ryobi tool for an entire day. We went ahead and we tried with a laptop. The laptop only draws about, 30 to 40 watts. It was well over 1 day that it would be able to handle it. So Amanda and I, we went back outside and we unboxed the 600-watt solar panel. And this thing folds up as small as like a little briefcase, so it's really easy to take around and carry around with you, but it has 6 huge panels, so it's really neat how those big panels fold out from such a small initial starting point. We grabbed the 2500, we put it in this wagon, as you can see here, and we connected it to the solar panels, and it was time for the solar charging test. Now, it was a bit of an overcast day, and I was getting anywhere from, 200 to 400 watts input on this thing. You really, truly can charge this thing from depletion in an afternoon. It'd take you maybe 4 or 5 hours, granted. Now, we took this battery and we wheeled it down the driveway to do another test with some of our mango trees. It's been getting really cold here in Central Florida, and one of the techniques that we use to keep our mango trees warm is using these incandescent bulbs. And it's kind of far away from grid power. We usually don't have a way of reliably putting these incandescent bulbs on. The Allpowers handled it like a champ. It would definitely be able to power these strings of lights overnight and keep our mangoes safe from the frost. So another really practical thing that we'll find ourselves doing on the Homestead, this thing has so many uses in so many different ways that you can utilize it when you don't have power. And well, folks, there you have it, the Allpowers 2500 with those 600-watt solar panels. Again, I mean, truthfully, when I get these offers, there's certain things, I'll be real with you, that I go ahead and I turn around and I resell them afterwards. These battery banks, I always hold on to. I always keep them because they're extremely practical. If you are one of those many people that still have those giant gas-powered backup generators, they're so clunky, you kind of like give this big sigh when the power's out because you know you gotta drag it out. These things are so much more practical. And if you use the power of the sun, you can keep your food cold all night. Next morning, bring the battery bank out, set those solar panels out, and it'll be recharged. Your food stays cold during a power outage without the need of pouring gas into those big generators. Not to mention how practical it is if you do any kind of outdoor stuff. I mean, going to a cabin that doesn't have grid power, going on a camping trip, trying to do work with electric tools and you're kind of far away from a power supply. They're really, really practical. And in my experience, there's times where you don't really have a use for it. It just kind of sits there. But then when the time comes that you need it, it's invaluable, super, super beneficial. Keep in mind, these Allpowers brand batteries also have an app that you can use. So you can connect it to the Wi-Fi that's, built into the battery itself. And you can do all kinds of fine tooth, you can monitor your power drain. You can see how much time you have left until it goes depleted. All of that stuff, very, very modern. You get an app on your phone, you can see it all. Folks, thank you so much for watching the video. God bless, and thank you so much to Allpowers for the opportunity to review another one of these batteries. I mean, this one, I'm keeping it around. I'm sure that it'll get use over the years, right? Guys, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe for more Homestead-related content and product reviews. And y'all, until next time, it's almost Christmas. So if I don't see you again before Christmas, Merry Christmas and God bless, everybody. Bye-bye, y'all. Take care.